Welcome back to the channel, horror fans. Today, we're doing something different. Something darker. We're going to explore a creature so perfectly designed for death that it has haunted our nightmares for over 4 decades. A monster that doesn't just kill you, it uses your body as an incubator for something far worse. I'm talking about the Xenomorph. But this isn't just another creature feature breakdown. Today, we're going deep. We're crawling into the hive, into the darkness where these things breed and hunt. We're going to examine every single variant of this perfect organism, from its parasitic birth to its towering queen. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll understand why the Xenomorph isn't just a movie monster. It's a biological horror show that could theoretically exist, so turn off your lights. Put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't let your guard down. Because in space, no one can hear you scream. But you're not in space right now, are you? Let's begin. Picture this. You're walking through a derelict spacecraft. Your boots echo on the metal floor. Your flashlight cuts through the darkness, and then you see it, a chamber filled with what looks like leathery eggs, each one about 3 feet tall, covered in a biomechanical texture that seems to breathe. These are Ovomorph, the beginning of your end. Here's what makes them truly terrifying. They're not just eggs sitting there passively waiting to hatch. No, these things are aware. They can sense movement, heat, and carbon dioxide. They're biological landmines with one purpose: detect a host and deploy. The nightmare inside. When you get close, and let's be honest, curiosity killed more than just the cat. The top of the egg begins to unfold like the petals of some grotesque flower. For fleshy flaps peel back, releasing a mist of preservative fluid that's kept the creature inside alive for potentially centuries. And that's when you see it moving inside. That's when you realize you've made a terrible mistake. But here's the question. Nobody asks, how do these eggs get there in the first place? Who lays them? Where do they come from? Hold that thought, we'll get there. First, you need to meet what's coming out of that egg. If I had to design the most horrifying parasite imaginable, I'd probably come up with something like the Facehugger, but I'd still fall short of how perfectly awful this thing actually is. 8 articulated legs, a long, powerful tail, and a body designed for one single horrific purpose: to forcibly impregnate you with an alien embryo. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when a facehugger attacks. It launches itself at your face with the speed of a striking cobra. Those 8 fingers wrap around your head with a grip strong enough to crack bone. The tail coils around your throat, not to strangle you, but to keep you from tearing it off. Because if you try to remove it by force, it will choke you unconscious, maybe to death. But that's not the worst part. While you're struggling, while you're panicking, the facehugger is already working. It forces a tube down your throat, past your gag reflex, deep into your esophagus. And then it begins the implantation process. It's pumping an embryo directly into your body, along with a specialized chemical compound that keeps you alive and suppresses your immune system. The whole process takes hours. When it's done, the facehugger detaches, crawls away, and dies. Its life had one purpose, and that purpose is now growing inside you. Oh, and here's a fun fact. Facehuggers have acid for blood, concentrated molecular acid that can eat through almost anything. So even if you manage to cut one off, you risk spraying acid all over your face. There's no winning here. There never was. The trap has been sprung. The parasite has found its host, and you're already dead. You just don't know it yet. You wake up. You feel ... fine. Maybe a little sore in the throat. A bit hungry. The medical team scanned you, said everything looks normal. The facehugger is dead on the floor. You survived. Except you didn't. The embryo is growing inside your chest cavity at an impossible rate. It's not in your stomach, it's wrapped around your ribs, feeding on your blood, your nutrients, your life force. It's developing at a geometric pace, going from microscopic to the size of a small child in just a few hours. And then comes the birth. There's no warning, just a sudden, searing pain in your chest. You can't breathe. Something is moving inside you, pushing against your ribs from the inside. You look down and see your chest moving, bulging outward. Everyone's screaming. You're screaming, and then it erupts. The chestburster punches through your sternum like it's paper, tearing through bone and flesh and muscle. It's a snake-like creature, maybe a foot long, covered in your blood. It has a tiny, elongated head, no eyes, just that screaming mouth filled with teeth. For a brief moment, it looks at the people around Iwasasing, learning, and then it's gone, disappearing into the shadows with horrifying speed. You collapse, dead in seconds. Your body nothing more than an empty vessel now, but the creature that killed you, it's just getting started. Because in just a few hours, it's going to shed its skin and transform into something much, much worse. Six hours later, the Chestburster has molted. It's found a dark corner somewhere in the walls, the vents, the crawl spaces, and it's emerged as something that shouldn't exist in nature. The drone stands over 7 feet tall. Its body is a nightmare fusion of organic and mechanical, biomechanical horror that looks like it was designed by H.R. Geiger himself. Because, well, it was. Look at its head, smooth, elongated, eyeless. It has no visible sensory organs, yet it can track you perfectly in complete darkness. It sees through echolocation, electromagnetic sensing, maybe something we don't even understand. It doesn't need eyes when it can sense your heartbeat through the walls, that curved dome hiding its skull. That's not just for show. Inside is a highly developed brain capable of problem solving, tactical thinking, and learning. These things are smart. They can cut power, set traps, coordinate attacks. They understand that you're more valuable alive than dead because you're not food. You're an incubator for more of their kind. The second jaw. Let's talk about the second jaw. Hidden inside its mouth is a smaller, extendable, pharyngeal jaw lined with metal-hard teeth. It shoots out like a piston, fast enough to punch through a human skull in an instant. It's an assassination tool, a close-quarters killing spike. That means if a xenomorph gets within arm's reach, you're dead in half a second. The tail is 6 feet of flexible, bladed death, sharp enough to impale you through the chest, prehensile enough to grab and manipulate objects. It's another weapon in an already terrifying arsenal. And that acid blood, it's not just in the face. Every xenomorph has it. Shoot one, and you risk splashing yourself with molecular acid that will burn through your armor, your flesh, your bones, and the floor beneath you. They're booby-trapped by nature. Drones are the workers, the hunters, the foundation of every hive. They're patient. They're intelligent. And they're everywhere. In the vents, the walls, the ceilings. You never see them until it's too late. They are the perfect organism. unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. Now imagine dozens of drones, hundreds, all working together with one mind, one purpose. That's when you meet the warriors, first witnessed during the massacre at Hadley's Hope Colony. Warriors are the military caste of the Xenomorph species. They're slightly larger than drones, more heavily armored, with a distinctive ridged cranial crest instead of the smooth dome. There's debate about whether warriors are a separate caste or just older, battle-hardened drones. Either way, these are the creatures that turned trained. Colonial Marines, the toughest soldiers in the galaxy int, screaming, victims in a matter of hours. Let me tell you what it's like to face a warrior assault. First, the lights go out. They've learned to cut the power because they see better in the dark than you do. Your motion tracker starts pinging. 1 blip, then 5, then 20. Then the screen is just full of signals coming from every direction. Above you, below you, the walls, then you hear them. That distinctive hissing, clicking sound, the scraping of claws on metal. Getting closer, you open fire into the darkness, and maybe you hit one. It explodes in a spray of acid that melts through your buddy's armor. He's screaming. You keep firing. The muzzle flashes give you glimpses. Elongated heads, chrome teeth, too many of them, moving too fast. They don't just attack from one direction. They swarm from everywhere at once. The ceiling drops on you. They come through the floor. They coordinate, flanking you, separating you from your team. You're not fighting animals, you're fighting soldiers. Soldiers that don't feel fear, don't feel pain, and don't stop until you're captured or dead. The warriors are the reason the phrase "game over" man became iconic. Because when they come for you in force, it is game over. But what happens when a facehugger can't find a human host? What if it latches on to something else? That's how we got the runner, also called the dog alien or ox alien, depending on which version of Alien 3 you watch. And this variant proves something absolutely terrifying about xenomorphs. They adapt to their host. The runner came from a dogor, a bovinand, it shows. This xenomorph is quadrupedal, built low to the ground like a biological missile. It lacks the dorsal tubes of its bipedal cousins. What it loses in height, it gains in pure, terrifying speed. Imagine being chased through dark corridors by something that moves like a greyhound mixed with a velociraptor. It's faster than you, it's quieter than you, and it's coming. The runner proves that xenomorphs aren't just adaptable, they're genetically parasitic. They take characteristics from their host and incorporate them into their own biology. Human host, you get the standard bipedal design. Dog host, you get something built for pursuit and speed killing. This raises a horrifying question. What happens if a facehugger impregnates something bigger than a human? Something stronger, something more intelligent. Hold that thought. We're getting there. Every hive needs a mother, and the xenomorph queen is a mother you do not want to meet. Standing 15 to 20 feet tall, the queen is absolutely massive compared to her offspring. She's the architect of the colony, the strategic mind behind the swarm, and the most dangerous xenomorph you will ever encounter. Her most distinctive feature is that enormous head cresta crown that extends backward like a massive serrated hood. It's not just decorative. That crest contains sophisticated sensory organs. that let her communicate with her entire hive simultaneously, through pheromones and possibly something resembling telepathy. Behind her is the ovipositor, a massive, pulsating egg sac that continuously produces ovum. She can lay hundreds of eggs, creating an endless supply of facehuggers to expand the hive's numbers. The queen is literally a biological factory, pumping out death. But here's what makes her truly terrifying. The queen is intelligent, not animal intelligent, not even human. She's something else. She can understand complex situations, recognize individuals, hold grudges, and plan revenge. In Aliens, we see the queen watch helplessly as Ripley burns her egg chamber. The queen doesn't attack immediately. She remembers. She tracks Ripley to the dropship, sneaks aboard, and waits. She hunts Ripley with calculated rage, targeting Mute because she knows it will hurt Ripley the same way burning the eggs hurt the queen. That's not instinct. That's personal. And if you think the ovipositor makes her vulnerable, think again. The queen can tear herself free from the egg sac when threatened, transforming from a stationary egg layer into a towering monster of rage and fury. She has 4 arms, each one strong enough to rip through metal. Her inner jaw can punch through reinforced barriers. She's a walking tank with the intelligence to use it. Fight a drone. You might survive with training and weapons. Fight a queen. You need a power loader and pure luck. Every queen needs protection. Enter the Praetorians. Think of them as the queen's personal bodyguards, larger, stronger, and more heavily armored than standard warriors. They feature a distinctive head crest that resembles a young queen's crown, and they rarely stray far from their matriarch. Praetorians are the elite soldiers of the hive. While warriors swarm and overwhelm through numbers, Praetorians are deliberate and devastating. They're the last line of defense, and they will tear you apart if you get close to the queen. But here's the most interesting part. Praetorians aren't just guards. They're potential successors. Under specific circumstances, usually when the queen is killed, Praetorian can undergo a transformation, molting into a new queen to ensure the hive's survival. This means the hive is nearly impossible to destroy permanently. Kill the queen, and another rises. The Xenomorph species has redundancy built into its biology. It's survived for millions of years for a reason. Remember when I asked what happens if a facehugger impregnates something more dangerous than a human? Meet the Predator, Lynn, in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. We see the result of a facehugger impregnating a predator, one of the galaxy's most dangerous hunters. The resulting hybrid is an absolute nightmare. The predalien has the general xenomorph body structure, but inherits the predator's mandibles, dreadlock-like appendages, and enhanced strength. It's bigger than a standard drone, more durable, and possesses the hunting instincts of both species. But the most terrifying ability, this particular predalien could skip the facehugger stage entirely. It could forcibly implant multiple embryos directly into hosts through its mouth, creating instant infestations. Imagine a creature that could turn a room full of people into incubators in minutes. The predalien proves that xenomorphs are the ultimate biological weapon. They don't just adapt, they improve with each new host species. They take the best traits and incorporate them into their biology. It makes you wonder, what would happen if a facehugger impregnated an engineer, an alien whale, a genetically enhanced super soldier? Each possibility is more horrifying than the last. The Neomorph isn't technically a xenomorph, it's a precursor species created by the black goo pathogen. But it deserves discussion because it shows us what xenomorphs might have been before they were perfected. Neomorphs are spawned from airborne spores that infect hosts through orifices, ears, nose, eyes. The incubation is hours, not days. And the birth is just as violent, erupting from the host's back or throat as bloodbursters. What emerges is ghostly white, eyeless and fast. Neomorphs are more animalistic than xenomorphs, they're pure, chaotic aggression. They don't capture hosts for reproduction. They just kill, viciously, repeatedly. They represent the xenomorph's evolutionary ancestor, more primal, savage version that lacks the tactical intelligence, but compensates with sheer ferocity. They're what xenomorphs might have been before someone or something weaponized them. Going even further back, we have the Deacon from Prometheus. This creature emerged from a complex infection chain involving the black goo, a human host, and an engineer. The Deacon has smooth, bluish skin, a conical head, and that distinctive inner jaw. But it lacks the biomechanical appearance of true Z. It's smoother, more organic, more ... primitive. This is what xenomorphs looked like millions of years ago, before they were refined into the perfect killing machines we know today. The Deacon is proof that xenomorphs weren't natural evolution, they were designed, created as biological weapons by the engineers, which raises the ultimate question: why? Why create something so perfectly lethal? What were the engineers trying to destroy that required this? I saved the most controversial for last: the newborn from Alien Resurrection. When scientists cloned Ripley along with the queen embryo inside her, they accidentally created something that should never have existed. The queen inherited human DNA from Ripley's cells, and when it reproduced, it gave birth to that. The newborn is large, pale, with both human and xenomorph features. It has EYES expressive, almost human eyes. It doesn't lay eggs. It gave live birth, killing its xenomorph mother in the process. The newborn recognized Ripley as its mother, and displayed genuine emotion, confusion, affection, rage. It's the ultimate proof that you should never, ever try to hybridize xenomorph DNA with human genetics. The newborn is tragic, disturbing, and absolutely horrifying. It's a genetic mistake that proves sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create ourselves. So there you have it. From the patient Ovomorph to the towering queen. From the lightning-fast runner to the hybrid predator. The xenomorph has proven itself to be the most adaptable, most deadly, most perfect killing organism ever conceived. Every variant shows a different facet of this biological nightmare. Every stage of its life cycle is designed for maximum lethality. Every adaptation makes it harder to kill. But here's what really makes xenomorphs terrifying. They're not impossible. The biology is horrifying, but it's not fantasy. Parasitic wasps already do something similar to their hosts. Viruses hijack cells for reproduction. Eusocial insects have queens and specialized castes. The xenomorph takes real biological concepts and pushes them to their logical, nightmarish extreme. They could exist. Think about that tonight when you're trying to sleep. Which variant terrifies you the most? The face-hugging parasite, the swarming warriors, the intelligent queen. Let me know in the comments below. And if you're brave enough, tell me which variant you think you could survive an encounter with. Spoiler alert, you probably couldn't. If you enjoyed this deep dive into biological horror, smash that like button, subscribe for more nightmare fuel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we explore the darkest corners of science fiction and horror. Remember, in space, no one can hear you scream. But you're not in space right now, or are you? Stay safe out there. Watch your motion tracker, and whatever you do, don't investigate any strange eggs. I'll see you in the next video. If we both survive that long,